Alright guys, so we're kind of outside today and the tub is full of water, and so let's say you're in the laundry room and you need to change your pump. Okay, you could either extract the water or you can move the machine outside. Probably not too practical. This one is in the carport, so it wasn't too bad. So a couple things you can do. You might be able to disconnect the hose. Okay, get a pan, you just drain the water like that. Okay, when you fill it up, bring it up, hold it, empty it, and just keep doing that. Okay, and that will empty the tub. Just let it all pour out. You can see the water going down. Okay, another thing you can do, if you're not able to drain it like this, you can get a clamp, and I will include that in the video, where you cinch, basically squeeze off that section. This is the radiator pliers. I included a zip tie on the top just to increase its clamping. So you would insert it right at the base. I'll set my tripod up shortly, but I just want to show you how good it holds. Okay, so we got the clamp on. Now, if you weren't able to do this, now you're gonna get a little bit of water out first, but it should stop. Okay. As you can see, it holds really well. And now you're able to disconnect the clamp. Your machine could be full of water and you could still be working on it. When you're done, all you have to do is reconnect your hose, and of course keep a towel or something underneath, but just be mindful, make sure your clamp is good. If you're able to get 2 clamps, even better, just be on the safe side. Now I'm going to release the clamp, and you're going to see the water flowing. See that? So, does a good job. I want to point something out as well. If you're able to get the machine out, don't lay the machine on the side to dump the water out. You do have your switch here, and you might be tempted to just tip it forward, dump the water out. Water's going to slush around, or it could actually hit the switch, could damage the switch, or hit the side of the machine, and sometimes it could actually damage the stator. So if you're going to drain it outside just like that, you won't have a problem that way. Also, if you do have well, if you're on a well, as this customer is, and you see those, get some CLR, spray in there, and also you can put some in the hose and reconnect, turn the water on, let it sit for about 10 minutes. Okay, keep the valves and the pump as well, especially in these areas where you have a lot of iron. All right, that's my quick tip. All right, guys, so this is the old pump, and our bracket, mounting bracket, is slightly different. So you might have to remove this housing and put your new pump on this housing. It does happen. So pretty straightforward, really. But before you start, pay attention to the orientation of everything, okay? And you pretty much can't mess it up. Easier said than done. They do lock into a certain point, but it doesn't hurt to be on the safe side. So this is the old pump, and that's our mounting. So they go together, okay? Just a reference point. And then you'd put the same mark on this guy, okay? Right over there and right there, so that you know everybody's gonna go together. You may get busy or whatever. What if you take this off and you have to stop and do something? You come back and you're like, oh. So to remove this is a locking pin, and always start with your old one first, in case you don't know, so you don't damage the new one. So you'll have some practice. You don't want to pry it. All you want to do is basically make enough room, okay, for this piece to pass. So if you have something small, you can insert, okay, and as you can see, it's almost past. And once it reaches there, you can pretty much just leave that there, and then you're going to turn, okay? So it's locking it from going that way, so you want to turn this way. Make sure it's not locked in again. And obviously you can't go the opposite, you can only go that way. Now when they have a lot of iron and stuff, sometimes they do get seized up pretty good. There we go. Okay. And sometimes your stuff gets stuck in these pumps, but these are pretty straightforward. And so this is bad, this is good. And while you're there, wipe it out. Anything that's in there that does not belong. You can feel some sand. Let me get some paper towel or something. Now you see your mark. Our mark's going to correlate to that once we're off, and it's going to be the same procedure. Sometimes you can use your finger, it's up to you. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. Once you push, you're going to push the other way, and it should be free shortly. Okay, and when you start it, you start right here, right at that knob. S for start, looks like an S, I guess. Okay, and he discard. And where's my point? Okay. So when you connect them, everything has to be pushed in. Make sure your seal is there. That's what seals in there. Okay. And then you have to squeeze. Just remember our lines. and that helps you from getting confused. See the lines? Everybody's intact. So you know for a fact that everything is back the way it was. So this screw goes into the bottom, and that's why we had to change the brackets. They might have changed this on some models, but on this one it doesn't. For this installation of the hose, the drum is sitting on its side, so you will have to stand the machine up, okay? Otherwise you stand a chance of this coming off. Now, on some models I've actually seen where they had glue, so what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna release this one from its duty, and we're gonna actually put a regular clamp on, just because now that the glue from the factory might not be there, you don't want to take a chance. Also, if your washer goes into a crazy, it shouldn't go into a spin. LG is pretty good, but in the event your pump is stationary and your drum isn't, so there's a good chance it could pull. This one is factory, so I don't anticipate anything. You can also see the glue that's on the top, so we're going to use a regular clamp on this. So we're going to stand the machine up, and we're almost done. All right, so we got our clamp on. As you can see it, it's a 5/16. It's pretty good clamp, heavy duty. It's just an extra layer of protection, guys. You don't want to have your house flooded just because of a cheap clamp, unless you're going to be able to glue that back, and you know, it's just, you're not going to get the same kind of dry time and assurance that they had at the factory. It's just not the same. You don't have time for that. You need to get your pump on, get some laundry in this machine, and be on your way. All right, so make sure your hose is all the way up to the machine. Sometimes they have little indentation, and you would slide it into that feeling. I don't feel, in fact, I don't see any on the other pump, so I think we're good. Just make sure it's not twisted, so your point of angle should be nice and straight. And make sure that you have enough bite, meaning you're not squeezing the outside of the hose. Make sure you're squeezing the pump all the way around. You can see that's on, nice and sturdy. Now your drain hose, I'm not too particular worried about that as much. The factory uses the cheap clamp as well, but this machine is actually on the outside, so even if we did had a leak, we wouldn't be in too much craziness. But you can see it's kind of rusty, it's losing its tension, so probably going to change that one as well. When it comes to water and safety, it's not worth it. Sometimes you try to save a buck, end up losing $100. Not worth it. Now the drain hose has a notch, so make sure you line those up. Hopefully you guys can see the angle was a little bit weird. There's a notch right there. You're not going to get any kind of clamping force from those clamps. Those are just basically keep the hose on as the glue did the work. That's tight. That's not going anywhere. All right. Next clip is going to be the machine in the drain, powered up. All you have now is you got your screws on the back here. Okay. Put your screws on. In your case, leave it off, power the machine up, add some water, and check for leaks. In fact, leave the machine out, and if you can or able to, just pour water in the machine. All the water will go to the pump base, and you want to verify that you're not leaking before you actually put the machine back into service. All right. All right, so we'll power it up. Doing cold because I don't think this customer has hot water, only cold. So, okay. I'm gonna put this cover on. But before we want to check just to make sure we're not leaking, let's get some lights. Machine doing its thing. Double check, make sure everything looks good down there. One last check, connections plugged in. In fact, you will know if you have a leak, but you don't want to wait for that. By the way, you can see also the tub is moving and your pump is stationary. That's why it's important that you have a good connection down there, because if the machine moves to the left too much and it's not fully secured, that would be a massive leak. All right, waiting for the water. You also want to check for leaks up top. Make sure nothing is dripping. If you did, disconnect. Flow looks good. All right, now we're going to verify that the pump is working. We're actually going to go to spin, press and hold. And then we're going to press start, and the washer is going to go into a drain. Dump the water out, start. As you can hear, it's pumping nicely. No leaks. Just got to secure the back and put a zip tie to secure that from coming out. Water's out. Error message is gone. All right. Thanks for watching.